February 1st, 2009. Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida. Super Bowl XLIII. The Arizona Cardinals have the football at the Pittsburgh Steelers' 1-yard line. 18 seconds left in the first half. Pittsburgh is clinging to a 3-point lead, and on the next snap, a linebacker who was cut 4 times, who once considered becoming a bus driver, steps in front of a Kurt Warner pass and begins running. 1 yard. 20 yards. 50 yards. 70 yards. Touchdown, the longest play in Super Bowl history. But here's what you did not see. The years of rejection, the practice squad loneliness, and the long road through NFL Europe that brought James Harrison to that exact moment. This is Roster Bubble Documentaries. James Henry Harrison Jr. was born on May 4, 1978, in Akron, Ohio. He was the youngest of 14 children. His father, James Sr., drove a chemical truck and worked multiple jobs. His mother, Mildred, managed a household that had to stretch every dollar. Growing up on the west side of Akron, Harrison did not have much, but he had toughness baked into him from the very beginning. Football was not a sure thing. His mother did not want him to play at first. It took Harrison and his childhood best friend to convince her otherwise. But once he started, the raw ability was undeniable. He played both linebacker and running back and dominated local competition. He wound up at Coventry High School in Akron. On the field, he was a force. Off the field, he was still figuring himself out. By his senior year, immaturity caught up to him. He was suspended multiple times. Discipline problems and academic issues scared off the major college programs that had shown interest. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Nebraska, all of them backed away. With no scholarship offers on the table, Harrison walked on at Kent State University. He had to sit out his freshman season in 1998 because he did not meet NCAA academic requirements. But something shifted. He raised his GPA to a 3.0. He earned a spot. Then he earned the starting job. By the end of his time at Kent State, he was a team captain and a first-team All-Mid-American Conference selection. In his senior year, he led the conference with 15 sacks and 20 tackles for loss. He helped Kent State to their first winning season in 14 years. Here's the thing about the NFL draft, though. Numbers from the Mid-American Conference do not carry the same weight as numbers from the Big Ten or the SEC, and Harrison had a measurement problem. 6 feet tall, 240 pounds, scouts said he was too short to play outside linebacker in the NFL and too light to play defensive end. He fell through every round of the 2002 NFL Draft without hearing his name called. Not a single team selected him. The Pittsburgh Steelers offered him a chance as an undrafted rookie free agent. He signed in April 2002, and that is when the real grind started. Harrison made the initial roster but was released before the regular season began. Pittsburgh brought him back to the practice squad. He was activated briefly toward the end of the 2002 season, but only for special teams. His fellow linebacker James Ferrier later recalled those early days in blunt terms, saying Harrison was so raw that he would simply give up on plays and even ask coaches not to put him in the game. Then came the first full off-season, and the Steelers let him go again. After being cut by Pittsburgh for the 3rd time, Harrison was signed by the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore did not keep him on the active roster either. They sent him overseas to play for the Rhein Fire in NFL Europe. When he came back, Baltimore cut him too. That made 4 times being released by 2 different NFL organizations. Think about that for a second. 4 cuts. 2 teams deciding he was not good enough. By this point, Harrison seriously considered walking away from football entirely. He later said he thought about becoming a truck driver, like his father. He thought about going back to school to become a veterinarian because he loved animals. The dream of playing in the NFL was fading, but sometimes in the NFL, survival comes down to someone else's misfortune. In the summer of 2004, Pittsburgh linebacker Clark Haggans suffered a freak injury during off-season workouts. The Steelers needed a body. They called Harrison. He has said that if that phone call had not come, he would have retired from football at age 26. Harrison made the 53-man roster for the 2004 season. Played in all 16 games, but started only 4 of them. Most of his snaps came on special teams. His first career start came on November 14th against his hometown Cleveland Browns. After starting linebacker Joey Porter was ejected for fighting before the game even started. Harrison recorded his first career sack that day, bringing down Browns quarterback Jeff Garcia. Pittsburgh won 24-10. For the next two seasons, 2005 and 2006, Harrison was a depth piece, a role player. Someone who filled in when starters went down. He made some plays, intercepted a Drew Brees pass, and hurdled over LaDainian Tomlinson on the return. He tackled a fan who ran onto the field during a game in Cleveland. He earned a Super Bowl ring with the Steelers after they won Super Bowl XL in the 2005 season, but he was far from a household name. The Steelers liked what they saw, but Harrison was still on the outside looking in when it came to a starting job. Joey Porter was the man. Clark Haggans held the other spot. Harrison was the insurance policy, the guy who waited. Then came the 2007 offseason. Bill Kawar retired after 15 years as Pittsburgh's head coach. Mike Tomlin took over, and the Steelers made a decision that would change everything. They cut Joey Porter for salary cap reasons. Despite drafting two linebackers with their first two picks that year, Lawrence Timmons and Lamar Woodley, the coaching staff named James Harrison the starter. 5 years into his NFL career, after 4 cuts and a trip to Europe, the man who once asked coaches not to play him was now the starting outside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What happened next was not supposed to happen. Not for a guy from Kent State. Not for someone who went undrafted. It's not for a player who was released 4 times. But that is exactly where this story gets interesting. And we have not even gotten to Monday Night Football yet. When James Harrison was named the starting outside linebacker for the 2007 Pittsburgh Steelers, there were no guarantees. New head coach, new scheme adjustments. 2 rookie linebackers drafted in the first 2 rounds. Harrison had every reason to believe the leash would be short. Instead, he ripped it off entirely. On November 5, 2007, the Steelers hosted the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. Harrison put together one of the most dominant single-game performances by a linebacker in recent memory. 9 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, an interception, and one highlight that had people rewinding their televisions. After a punt, Ravens safety Ed Reed fielded the ball and tried to make a return. Harrison came downfield and delivered a hit so violent it became an instant signature moment. That game earned him a nickname. A few weeks later, during another Monday night broadcast, announcers started calling him Mr. Monday Night. By the end of the 2007 season, Harrison had 98 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and an interception. He was named second-team All-Pro, selected to his first Pro Bowl, and voted the Steelers team MVP. The breakout was real. But 2008 is where the story becomes legendary. Paired with Lamar Woodley on the other side, Harrison formed what many considered the best pass-rushing duo in the league. Together, they combined for 27.5 sacks, a franchise record. Harrison alone had 16, breaking a team record that had stood since 1984. He also added 101 tackles, 7 forced fumbles, and an interception. He was still playing special teams that year, too. One of the very few starting linebackers in the NFL doing that, and it almost cost Pittsburgh a game. In Week 8 against the New York Giants, after the regular long snapper went down with a knee injury, Harrison was pressed into service as the emergency long snapper. He launched the ball over the punter's head and out of the end zone for a safety, tying the game. Pittsburgh lost. But that moment was a footnote compared to what came next. On January 5, 2009, Harrison was named the Associated Press NFL Defensive Player of the Year for the 2008 season. He beat out Dallas Cowboys linebacker DeMarcus Ware for the honor. And with that award, Harrison became the first undrafted player in league history to win it. A man who was cut 4 times. A man who nearly became a veterinarian, the best defensive player in football. Then came Super Bowl XLIII. Pittsburgh versus Arizona. The Steelers led 17-7 at halftime, but the defining moment happened in the final seconds before the break. Arizona had the ball at the Pittsburgh 1-yard line, 18 seconds on the clock. Quarterback Kurt Warner dropped back. He threw toward the end zone. Harrison read it. He stepped in front of the pass, and then he ran. 100 yards. Down the sideline, Cardinals players chasing, teammates blocking. The stadium in complete chaos. Harrison crossed the goal line and collapsed in the end zone, completely gassed. He lay there for several minutes, struggling to catch his breath while his teammates celebrated around him. It was the longest play in Super Bowl history at that time. Pittsburgh won 27-23. Harrison had his second Super Bowl ring. The play cemented Harrison as one of the most improbable success stories in NFL history, but his career was far from over. In April 2009, the Steelers signed him to a 6-year contract extension worth over $51 million. He went on to make 5 consecutive Pro Bowls from 2007 to 2011. He earned first-team All-Pro honors twice and second-team All-Pro twice more. He continued to terrorize quarterbacks well into his 30s. In August 2014, at age 36, Harrison announced his retirement. It lasted about 3 weeks. Injuries hit the Steelers' defense hard, and Pittsburgh called. Harrison came back. He played 4 more seasons. In November 2016, at age 38, he passed Jason Gilden to become the Pittsburgh Steelers' all-time sack leader. He ended his Steelers tenure with 80.5 sacks. He finished his final season in 2017 with the New England Patriots. Playing in his 15th NFL season at age 39, over his career, Harrison recorded 84.5 sacks, over 570 solo tackles, 34 forced fumbles, and 8 interceptions. In 2021, NFL Films documented his journey in an episode of A Football Life. In October 2023, he was inducted into the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Honor. Here's what makes this story matter beyond the stats. Every year, hundreds of undrafted players sign with NFL teams in late April. Most of them are gone by September. The ones who survive training camp usually land on the practice squad. The ones who survive the practice squad still need a break, an injury to someone above them, a moment where the coach has no choice but to put them in, and then they need to deliver. James Harrison got that break in 2004 because Clark Haggans hurt himself lifting weights. He got his starting job in 2007 because Joey Porter was too expensive to keep. None of it was handed to him. When the door cracked open, he did not just walk through it, kicked it down. The youngest of 14 kids from Akron, Ohio, undrafted out of Kent State, cut 4 times, sent to Europe, nearly became a truck driver. And he ended up as the NFL Defensive Player of the Year, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and the all-time sack leader for one of the most storied franchises in football history. That is the roster bubble. That is where legends hide. If stories like this remind you why you fell in love with football, subscribe to Undrafted Stories. We'll be back soon with another one.